Welcome back to day 3 of the European Touch Champions, technically day 4 if you include the opening ceremony, and of course round 1 in the women's tie, the 2 French games that were played. We are heading into the crunch time, and we've got a huge game in the men's 40s, 2 back-to-back. It's England, the heavy favourites, taking on Scotland, who finished 4th overall in the round robin. Theo Edwards back alongside me. He's had a very animated conversation about the refereeing of the game. So we'll keep an eye on that one in this, our first semi-final. There is space in the schedule for a drop-off if needed, but I'd be surprised given how fantastic England have been here and what a start it is. It is try number 23 in 7.1 games for Dean Bradley, which is a ridiculous record.
Yeah, that's it's just kind of not fair. I mean, I think I remember him just tearing up at World Cup. He tore up at the previous Euros, and this men's 40s team is slightly new look from World Cup, but there's a good number of players that played in that really successful World Cup team. They were very, very close to getting on top of the Kiwis and almost making it into to a gold medal match, and they pushed Australia closer than a lot of the other English teams did as well.
They've scored 101 tries now, this England side, conceded 17. They're averaging over 14 a game. That includes against all of their opposition they might meet in the final. We have both 40s semi-finals, of course. We've got Ireland in action against France, the hosts, up next. The sides who finished 2nd and 3rd, but it's England on the roll here. And it's Andrew Hammond. Penalty Scotland. That's a great moment for Scotland in that they've marched England all the way back here.
Yeah, it just looks like an off the mark in the middle. I imagine that what happened was one player made the touch, but the attacker was aiming for a different player to take the roll ball on, didn't feel or didn't notice the touch from the initial player, and that's what happened there. So it looked like a very clean strike dump that got a lot of pace and power into the drive.
Everton's Mark Evans, where's the touch? Scotland short-handed. Paul Travis-Smith, whose son is of course playing for Scotland in the mixed open as well, but that ball's in his direction, is intercepted, and a bit of a tame attack from Scotland up first.
Yeah, good channeling by Ollie Sills. Been around this 40s team for a while, been around the England touch setup for a good long time, and as you can see, he's an absolutely jacked man.
He also scored 12. And yeah, he does come a bit closer here. Good lord, good nick for an over 40s player. Sorry, I should say. Dean Bradley again, flinging it on the inside. This time it's a lovely ball, and if they snuck through for another, it's Andrew Hammond, and the try given, and that's a really good finish from Hammond. Had a lot of work to do. Try number 7 for him.
Yeah, great platform. Just a simple 33, and Scotland just all over the place in terms of defending, and simple in the end.
I reckon you could stick a couple of these 40 players in the men's open and no one would notice. It is a really deep touch setup, of course, at England. Scotland on the roll, though, looking to fight back into this game. Forrester. Nick Forrester in midfield. He's got Lewis to his right and Armstrong at the half. Here is Lewis.
Yeah, really nice edge control, we call it, from the English link there. He pops up and takes the touch away from his middle, allows that middle to get onside nice and early, and the link can take the channel away, and makes it much easier for that middle to get onside and for his open side players to get off the line and help him out.
Nice ball over the top, but Scotland caught. Still at the 7 though, still looking to score, still looking to be the just 18th try that England have conceded in this tournament. Another pick-off. Just looks a little bit too casual, that close to the line, but it's a good read from England. That's taken on that halfway. They should be able to form some kind of decent opportunity here. Daniel Lewis. Lush, and then driven to the line. Bradley, Lush, round the corner. It's a 3-on-2. Can England execute here? Bradley goes alone. Try number 24 with the top scorer. England have 3.
Yeah, lovely setup from England there. Just a 32 short or a roost to play on their box side. And he just comes around on the wrap and burns him for speed. And I've just been reliably informed by one of your camera crew that it's your birthday today, so I'm going to give you a shout out on the live stream.
Cheers. Yeah, it is indeed. Where else would you rather be, eh? Beautiful weather here in Vichy, although I am going to bed as soon as the final game is kicked off. We've got a big day tomorrow. Good drive, though, from Scotland up through the centre. Alistair Barnes. Laid back by Williamson. Barnes. Osborne. This is looking good from Scotland here. Big fan of the visor that Alistair Barnes is rocking as well. Big fan of the way he's taking on the English line here too. Still on here for Scotland, though the touches may be against them if they lose out here, and indeed it is turned over. Now, Daniel Winnes is on in playing field. I am aware of how you pronounce his name, but when he was playing Italy, it was much better whoever to pronounce Wines, so I did so. I can return it to normality now as he leaves the field. Just far more pun potential, and it was the end of a very long day. Great scoop from England. That's a brilliant angle. It's Oliver Seals with another setup. I think Scotland got across there to make the touch. There's a man down, unfortunately, for Scotland.
Yeah, nice setup. Good holes ran by England, and to punch through the Scottish defensive line. I think they'll probably just call the 6th touch here. Probably the correct call. But yeah, England getting a really nice flow out of their box, and we've spoken about this so many times. The team that can do the best in the midfield, that can keep the other team in their half and get out of their own half as efficiently as possible, they're the ones that usually go on to win the game.
3-0 already, 7 minutes gone in this semi-final. It'll be Scotland-France. Sorry, we are Wales-France, of course, in the other semi-final. England beat Wales 11-6 in their opening game. They then put 12 past Spain. 16 on this Scottish team. The last in round 3. 14 on Portugal. 18 on Italy. That was the game I caught over on field 8. And then today, 18 on Ireland, and they beat France 11-0. They have just continued to improve, and it's through the cap flap from Bradley to set up a lovely score. Great play from all involved. That is a special try.
Yeah, it's a lovely sequence from them. They come back to this near side 32 pickup, and they notice that middle's competing. He's turning in towards that scooper. Lovely read on the cut, and then simple 3v2 execution.
Douglas Benzie, the man who benefits. England have 4. Close games have been of a bit of a premium. They are happening all over the place, just not here on pitch 2. Perhaps our next game will be a little bit tighter, because France and Wales have been going at it across the tournament in men's 40s. As things stand, Scotland up to the 7. Can they leave a mark on this English team? Stuart Armstrong. Whistle goes. Miscount from Scotland there. Yeah,
they're looking at fairly dynamic Scotland. You know, when they get down to the line and when they do have some strikes, there's definitely skills and athleticism enough to create stuff. But England's defence is just really well connected, really solid, and their behaviours are really well drilled, and it just looks like there's no way through at the moment.
Off the deck from Chadwick. Chadwick again at the half. Here's Christopher Wall. It's Bradley again. It's another assist for him, surely. Or did the touch come across before Gareth Bainan could get it down? That is good defence from Scotland.
Yeah, it's a really nice line cut again. They've obviously been working on their off the ball hole running to bring the ball players into this team, like Bradley and like Ollie Sills. But honestly, I reckon he had a big mid space he could have run into there, gone through into the in goal, and found someone loose once once he was through. So they'll pick that up and they'll refine the platform.
If you had to draft a men's open team, but you're allowed one player from each age group, who do you reckon you're grabbing? I feel like you might be Dean Bradley out of this team.
Yeah, it looks like it. You've be quite an interesting one if you pick a kind of Euros all-star team of every division, and he's certainly going to be up there.
It'd be fun to draft a full team, but then it's more tactical. I imagine you'd pick your open and your men's 30s player to go in the middle, and then your mixed open player would probably end up in the link, and the 40s and 50s would end up out wide. Feels like a waste of his talent as Winnes feeds it on, and it's a very simple score from Stuart Bussell.
Yeah, really nice. I think just check on the replay. I think they run into a passive setup, so nice control. Yeah, fourth coming. They plough down for the 32. Looks like it's going to be a passive shape out the back. Yeah, so really tight and deep line from that link, running on the out. That pass pulled back almost a 45-degree angle, because the idea being that if that link's really tight and if they're turning in, the way to access the space is to go behind them and run into it to expose the 2-on-1 with the winger. If you're that winger, you're looking to identify the depth of that link early and try and hit the man and ball before they can get the ball away. But in that case, it was just a very simple execution.
Long ball over the top. Doesn't come off as it floats forward from Scotland. Do you think that's... and I know this might not be wholly true, because there are lots of players in this division who are not former men's open players, because lots of people join the sport late, coming from other forms of rugby, lots of talented players. But do you think that a men's 40 side do play touch in a similar style to a men's open side of, say, 10 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say that this age group's adapted at the same time as the opens grade. You can certainly see that especially in a European environment, we used to be very static. We used to kind of, you'd drive up the field as you would, but then you get to the line, you'd stand still and wait for that defence to crawl out towards you, whereas we're a lot more dynamic now. We have a lot more...
As an interception comes in, it was flown across from Leslie, and there's no one to catch Andrew Hammond, who has his second. It's a really good effort on the chase from Drew Davies, but Hammond was always the favourite. Scotland were on the turn, and he was at full pelt.
Yeah, lovely positioning again, and just their defensive behaviours are just paying dividends for them at the moment. But back to your question on the...
Well, I think Scotland were a bit static there as they hit the line.
The evolution of the division, it's touch kind of evolves at the same rate across most divisions. I mean, you do get the point where you look at the men's 50s and you do see touch kind of as it was played 4, 5, maybe 10 years ago, just because they're very set in their ways, they're very used to what they're doing. But this men's 40s team is, for the division, it's somewhat young. They've, a lot of them come through an open setup for previous years. They've come through a 30 setup, and they play regular touch at a decent level in the national touch series over in England and at nationals. Whereas with a lot of the older age groups, some of them don't get regular playing opportunities, so they kind of have to stick to what they know. But definitely with this team, you've seen it evolve over the years. I mean, they've refined their platforms. They were in the final back here 3 years ago. I had the pleasure of refereeing that final actually, and Dean Bradley on sweepers was their killer play, and they've obviously made that their hallmark.
Jason Logan in charge with Matt Mahoney in support, and Rebecca McDonald as well, helping out this England 40 side.
Yeah, Jason Logan, I think he was head coach of the men's 30s that went to the World Cup, and a couple of those players have come up to the 40s team. That was a bronze-winning men's 30s side that got over a very, very tough Japan side and managed to just go up by 2 against France in the bronze medal match.
Chris Wall was actually player coach of this team while they were over in the European Seniors Touch Cup a year ago. That's an uncapped tournament, but
just as England ran a nice little ML or hammer setup, or if you're of the New Zealand persuasion, it's a 33 peel, and they hit hole 1. Very, very simple from England. And Scotland just looking a little bit loose in their defence, just a little bit disconnected, and you just like to see that link and that wing being nice and connected to their middles, moving with them. And you can always tell the teams that have done a lot of practice of their defence and run against teams that have have solid attack, and when that defence looks like it's just a cohesive unit of 6. To quote one of my 30s players at the moment, and a man who's coached me a lot of what I know, Clark Hobson, defence is like a blanket. It's not quite big enough to cover both ends of the bed, but you don't want any holes in the blanket. You want it to just have one end.
Another intercept. Right to the line. This time it's Oliver Sills. And when it rains, it pours, really. Scotland are being undone here.
Yeah, they're just, again, dead simple from England. They just hang in the channel, and you make your own luck sometimes. They've worked hard for the rewards, and they're certainly getting it here.
England have sealed this one before the break. They're approaching their average score of 14 rather rapidly. They now have 108 tries for the campaign. Good drive, though, from Scotland. Can they get involved before the break? It's Leslie. Evans. Leslie. Back towards Evans instead. Deans is tracking him. And Dean Bradley's done really well there to usher Scotland out of it.
Oh, I believe it's given 6 again.
Well, it might have just touched an England player on the way
I
back.
think they're going to give the forward pass that happened first. Yes, so the pass was forward, and yes, it was touched in flight, but it was the first offence was the ball was released forward from the hands of the Scottish player.
Matthias out there in the middle, who was on co-coms a little bit earlier as well. Nice little break from winners.
Yeah, one first up over halfway. That's second almost at the 10. It's a really, really solid rucking set, and they should have a proper good strike at the 7 here. Looks like they might be running a passive shape again.
Oh, look at that step off the left boot from Bainan. Really impressive.
Earned themselves a repeat at the line once more, and we should see them start to purr through their progressions here.
Lush, Benzie. Lush off the deck. Bainan looking to find the winger. Oh, wonderful hands from Stuart Bussell. England approached double figures with 3 minutes to go in the half.
Yeah, that was a ridiculous pass from Dougie Benzie. Oh no, it's not Dougie Benzie. Sorry, number 6.
Yeah, I think that time it was Gareth Bainan.
Yeah, Gareth Bainan. He's just come around on the sweep and opened up, and it's one of those very difficult to defend balls that you read wrong in the air, and the wingers looked at that and gone, yeah, that's going to link, that's nice and low and flat, and it's just fizzed past his face and gone straight to the winger. So one of those ones where it's just really good skills to execute that and identify that that's an option.
Really good wing play to come a couple metres back to collect it and then finish. Scotland would love a try before half-time, I'm sure. Taken on by Barnes, and then they do crash over. But the touch is made, and it's a turnover. Gareth Bell denied.
Yeah, it's a great read by Alistair Chadwick over there on the wing. Give him a little shout out. As Scotland look to run what you might call a circle play, so it's a quickie with the half wraps and go to the open side quite early. They're obviously coming into their box of tricks trying to get one on this English team, but they're alive to the danger, and they shut that down very quickly.
Johnson with some good support. Here's Wall, Bradley. Wall left alone, so stole another few yards. England encroaching on 10 full points here. Wall, switch. Bradley off his toe, somehow grabs it.
Yeah, England are happy to kill that set. They probably wanted to move the ball a little bit, but they're happy to get into their defensive work here, try and win the ball back, and just go about their process.
Third in the world at the World Cup 2 years ago, and certainly looking like the best in Europe. In fact, as you said, Dean Bradley was the coach's player, and Chris Wall was player's player back in the World Cup. You have to go very far to find that information. It's like their third Instagram post back. They're not big social movers like the rest of England touch, online at least.
It is quite interesting as you get higher up the age groups, and social media gets less and less prominent. And I think the most telling thing is probably England Men's 55's logo being a screen. I think it might even be a picture taken on a phone of a Word document on another screen. So that does tell you a lot about their social media presentation. But
Chris Weymouth just shuddered somewhere here in Vichy. What a pill, and it's quick hands to get it down from Bustle, who has a hat-trick if this try is awarded. Eventually it is. England have 10, the winger has a hat-trick. Half-time will be a very happy team talk, I feel.
It's Gareth Bain again. They're using him as a real ball player on the right to left. The difficulty with that ML or hammer play is that half wrapper coming round is always in a very difficult position to actually hit their holes. So as a winger, the threat is mainly the early rip to short side wing, as you saw there. So Scotland will probably look to fix that and realise actually the wrap coming round, that's not a threat. They can't really get into position early enough just because of the way the play is designed. And so that winger should probably just be looking to release as early as you can. But as you saw earlier, the England can go short side, open side, and they'll whatever picture you're throwing at them, they'll find a way to get around it.
The first English team to reach a final here on pitch 2 is very likely to be their men's 40s. They're 10-0 up against Scotland with 20 minutes still to play. They have looked unbeatable. Wales and France in the semi-final to follow. But we'll stick with the other half of the draw for now, where England have a commanding lead. We'll be back in a few moments for the second half.
I have no idea what the score is.
Welcome back to the second half of our first of two men's 40 semi-finals here on pitch 2 in Vichy at the European Touch Championships. England are 10-0 up. So myself and Theo Edwards alongside me are going to do our best to stay entertained while the scoreline continues to creep up, as England has now scored 110 tries in 8 games.
Yeah, it's a pretty ridiculous record when you think about it, and I imagine England will probably take their foot off the gas a little bit in the second half. I know as a 30s team, we've been focusing on taking the sting out of second halves, not by reducing our intensity in the drives, but by slowing down turnovers, taking our time to get set in everything that we do, and just making sure that we prioritise flow over absolute speed. And it looks like they'll be doing the same, just making sure their processes are absolutely rock solid, that they get the basics right, and make sure that they're as prepared as they can be for their final tomorrow.
Bradley off the deck from Johnson. Wall feet it on. Wall. Well, caught. It's good defence from Scotland in the end. I do have a question though, Theo. I'm wondering what this percentage is in the statistical column next to the points and the points difference.
I can't tell you. I believe it may be the ratio of tries scored to tries conceded, but I don't think.
I think that's a really good shout because it's at 588%.
But yeah, I'm a bit. Well, 100 divided by 17 is quite clearly, or 17 divided by 100 is definitely not 500. So I can't really say what that is.
Interesting. Regardless, England's points difference has been bumped to 93 now. And it's still a long way to the final, which won't be till tomorrow, of course. England to the box. Bradley with a good carry. Seals on to replace him. This is good play from England again, and they're up to the 7. An excellent transition. Could be on here for the long ball over the top. It's another good pill from Bainan. Touch made though. Scotland lock out England twice. Much improved already in the second half.
Yeah, we've already seen how dangerous Gareth Bainan can be on those right to left passes, and so they've now shown that they've got a right to left and a left to right in the locker. So Scotland, they're going to have to be wise to both sides of the defence. There's a really nice roll coming on from the box here.
Scotland pop it over the top, well held by the winger. Looking for some kind of intervention from England there to extend the touches, but it hasn't come. And England win it back.
Yeah, it's a shame. Scotland look like they got a really good drive on there, coming out of their box, and England, I wouldn't say they looked shaky, but it's the first time that Scotland have looked to actually test the defence.
England stopped just outside the 10-metre line. Bradley, Johnson.
Yeah, good spot from the referee there. Bradley looking to gain a few extra yards, gets a touch on the back as he's going for the roll on a different player, and that just puts him over the mark. So, England seem to be calming the ship a little bit, just getting a little bit sloppy in some of their execution, and I think they want to fix that up as soon as they can, especially given that their final tomorrow. It's a big game, big day, big atmosphere. They want to be on form for it.
Yes, they are certainly going to be heading through. The men's open final yet to be revealed when it is being played on the school sheet, but the gold medal match in the men's 50s is over on pitch 8 at 12:30. The men's 45 gold medal match will be at 1:30 on that same field. The men's 30 match is also on pitch 8. The gold medal match for the men's 40 division is on pitch 1 at 12:30. While the gold medal matches in the mix open, the women's open, are on this pitch at 3:30 and 4:30, and I'm assuming the men's open will be around then, with the women's 27s gold match preceding it.
Yes, I would imagine. Well, I would imagine that the what they usually do is that the Opens finals can never take place concurrently, and that they are usually standalone games, or you'd hope that they were standalone games. It's really nice to get an atmosphere, especially around all three of the big Opens finals. And
how packed it was, the World Cup in Nottingham.
Oh yeah, I
years
had
ago.
a great front row seat as England go in again. Chris Wall just diving through the middle hole. I had a great front row seat for the men's Open final. Absolutely cracking game, and Ethel Jones scoring a hat-trick in front of me. It was absolutely glorious.
First try, actually, of the second half. So Scotland have held out for a full 5 minutes, which is significant improvement from the first half. But Wall breaks through. 11-0 now for England, as we do start to look ahead to other games, and I hope you can forgive us for that. Scotland's charging forward though. Forrester, Lewis, Forrester again. It's a really nice move, but England stand and deliver, and Daniel Wines can catch through Davis. Whistle goes before that loose ball was thrown. Regardless, it ends with English possession. Yeah, Scotland's top scorer is shared between Gareth Bell and Andrew Gordon on 5. Whereas Dean Bradley is on 24 now. Dean Bradley has scored 9 less than the entire Scottish team. Here he is again, Bradley, this time with the assist. Late delay on the ball to find Will Lush.
Yeah, and I believe I'm going to completely eat my words from before half-time, as I said that the difficulty of the ML or hammer play is the wrapper getting round in time, and they score by feeding it to the wrapper because the winger releases and stays on their player. So I'll apologise for that one, but yeah, really nicely executed play. I think the fact that Scotland were rolling backwards allowed Dean Bradley time on the ball, which also allowed his wrapper time to come into position. And it's a really clever option from them.
Scotland in possession. Good to see Paul Travis-Smith on. Best beard in the tournament, perhaps. Touch taken though by Evans. Travis-Smith is there, but darting over instead goes Dominic Wilde, the Scottish top scorer. And Scotland are on the board, and he becomes the standalone at the top of the table for the Scots on 6. Good dive, good finish.
Yeah, it's a really lovely finish there, and just getting under that covering defender. Nice sweeper line, kicking out, and just gets in time. Touch on the foot, just not in before the ball's down. So it's promising signs for Scotland. You know, they've certainly got some attacking flair, and as much as we think the result of this game is probably already determined, Scotland will be looking forward to that bronze match tomorrow against the loser of, I think it's Wales versus France.
Indeed it is, the next game for us.
Looking to go home with a medal as England once again on that ML platform, just rolling with too much momentum for Scotland.
Well, another one for England. I think it's Sills' hat-trick, you know. Nice dummy. Does 2 of them.
Yeah, both. It's just too much momentum at the moment. Scotland, they can't get to their line and then bounce back off it in time to, affect play and make touches in a decent position. So, it's just a momentum game for England at the moment, and that's what they're known for. It's what they did them well at the World Cup and did them well in all previous competitions. And they're going to be looking to make that their real staple.
Scotland with a chance. Forrester played out to Armstrong. Forrester again, one last shot here for Scotland, but the space closes up on Lewis and they're forced wide for the turnover. Interesting enough, at the uncapped European Seniors Cup, Wales actually went undefeated in the round robin phase of that competition. Just one draw to blemish their record. They did beat England. then a very different side there. And England men's 40 did actually go and win the gold medal in a rematch against Wales in the final.
Yeah, I believe I might have refereed the game in which Wales won, and it certainly seemed like the England 40s were very much not in their flow state at all. They weren't too worried though. They knew they had the goods to go and beat them again. But it was a really good performance from Wales. They were moving the ball really cleverly and playing some unorthodox touch at times, but it did them in good stead and got them a win against England, which, as we know, the Welsh will always love every time it happens or whatever.
Absolutely, and we'll see that Welsh side in action up next. But England still managed to win that gold medal game. It's an uncapped tournament, so it was a different side, but the likes of Ruiz Durrani and Daniel Lewis and Benzie, Bainan, they were all out there. Gethin Harries also playing for Wales alongside Richard Wanklin and Neil Pugsley, so lots of players a year ago who are still with the side. Soft hands, but a bit of a coming together in the midfield.
Yeah, just a little bit clumsy from the number 4 from Scotland, but you know, the fact that he was in the position is a really excellent defensive read. He saw that England were going for that 32 long play, that out ball, and gets nice and high and shuts it down before it can really get going.
Bradley, oh, nice step, over he goes. Try given.
Yeah, sort of an accidental splitter play. The sweeper goes round, probably wasn't planned, and comes in between the half and the dumper. As we saw on the previous set, England are starting to dig into their play a bit. They're starting to run different progressions off their different plays. Not when they ran that ML play, they ran what we might call the FML, the fake ML. Rather than feeding it to that strike running from the link, the half picks up, gives it straight back to the person who's dumped it, tries to execute the 3v2 on the far side, hoping that defence has collapsed in.
Dean Bradley now has a quarter of a century of scores in this tournament on his own, which is one less than the entire Portugal squad.
There's still plenty of time for him to go ahead and beat that team as we see Scotland go through and get one back on the board.
Dominic Wilde with his second. Nice scoot through. Well, we were just talking about scoring in the break. We were throwing back to the World Cup when they played Oman, and the Australian winger scored 17 tries.
Definitely,
it's sort of set
a nice setup from Scotland. Little sweeper, then a pick up, and good lines cut off the ball, especially by that winger, dragging a good 3 players with him and allowing his link to move into space and receive the pass.
But just to compare that level of scoring with, I mean, Bradley today, the lowest ranked side in this is Portugal, who are a really decent team. Italy, Ireland, Spain, who ended up with 2 victories and finishing in 5th place, and then Scotland, France and Wales. It's a strong group, and he still managed to rack up an unbelievable amount of scores, and England have scored 114 tries. And the number 14's on the roll again here. Lovely hands, just looking for that last tip on, but it couldn't reach Bussell.
Yeah, England's starting to play with a little bit of flair now. You know, they know the game's all sewn up. They're just out there having a bit of fun.
We are, of course, lovers of the game of touch, but when a side goes 10-0 up in the first half, the second 20 can sometimes feel rather long. Although Scotland have scored twice, it's actually only 4-2 in the second half, realistically. So Scotland's still pushing on. Love that tip over the top, which doesn't quite come off from Forrester.
Yeah, and it's kind of England maybe taking their foot off the gas a little bit, but Scotland have obviously come out there with nothing to lose. They've gone, you know what? We can put a few scores on the defending champs. We can put a few scores on the guys that went and got a bronze at World Cup, and they absolutely have done. They've come out firing, and you know, you can see the pace and the power that they're putting into the drive. Like they definitely their desire and their passion's definitely not lost in this game so far.
Bradley. Bussell. Hammond, Bussell, Wall. Wall on the inside, just accelerates through. Scotland backpedaling. Oh, almost a great take from Andrew Hammond.
Yeah, I'd probably like to see England stick with their live plays that they've been running. They've been running MLs, they've been running sweepers, and don't think we've seen a splitter yet. But ML is a kind of comparable platform. They seem to be having much more joy when they were running into the line with a live ball player rather than trying to scoop through teams. So hopefully we'll see them go back to that in the last 5 minutes.
4.5 at this stage. Scotland rolling on here. It's a great take from Paul Travis-Smith. Oh, look at the line breaking acceleration again from Scotland, but there is a touch on the way through. So back come the Scots, now on defensive duties. England will head towards the box, where they've been perfect so far. Winners. Bustle. Lovely line. Scott. Colin Scott now opens up. Scott scoots through. There's plenty to pick out, but Oliver Seals is in plenty of space.
Yeah, looking to run the sweeper setup. Picks up against the grain. I think there's a slight muddle in terms of lines of who's gone where and who's split where, but you know, it doesn't really matter when you've got skills and feet to go through gaps and find players free in the end goal.
Great skill and great Seals with a fourth try. 15-2 matches the previous meeting between these two, which is 15-3, I believe. $16-3 it was. Still time for that result to be formed.
You could hear Scotland calling fades there, and they're looking to try and get a strike dump very, very quickly inside the 7 and play away from it. Unfortunately, the English defence didn't really give them the behaviour they were wanting, didn't really collapse, and therefore there wasn't really any overlap.
England with a very comfortable defensive set. Dean Bradley will be pulled back. 2.5 minutes left. France and Wales await. Their semi-final will hopefully be a lot closer. Wales are definitely the favourites and are the side that have taken England the closest today. So the side we would like to play them again. Wales did beat France 5-4 when they previously met. And England beat them 11-6, which is one of those score lines which was probably a lot closer than it sounds, based on the fact that I want it to be. What a pill! Great work from Labsha Kurtzia to get across and make the touch, but Johnson on the end of a fantastic pass from Oliver Seals.
Yeah, nice to see him going back to the live plays. Maybe wing wasn't quite the option on that occasion, but there's definitely space there to be found.
We will have a 15-minute interval at the conclusion of this game, which was the space save for a potential drop-off. I'm not sure we're going to need one. I think the fastest you can score is from halfway, and it's about 15 to 20 seconds. So even if they manage to wrap that up, Scotland aren't getting back into this.
Yeah, it's unlikely.
And some. But here's Wall. Nice ball from Sills. Wall, the player come coach at the recent Senior Masters. It's back to Wall again. And I think he does score.
Yeah, it's very, very simple. Just looking for the same ML setup. Picks against the grain, gives it to the dumper, and just runs a simple outline into a 3v2. And the link's just not really in a position to make a touch. You see the saving middle tucks under a little bit too far and allows there to be a bit too much space for Chris to run into.
Seconds remain. Does Scotland have time to grab one more? Touch made on the switch. Trevor Smith, will he make it over? No, he won't. The game will end 16-2. Well, Einstein said the definition of insanity is to repeat the same experiment and expect different results. Scotland and England face again, and the score is almost identical when the sides met in the earlier rounds in the pool stages. 16 to England, 2 for Scotland. They bump up their per-game average of 14.3 by a couple more digits, and they head through to the final to place either Wales or France. Well, the next game and our final of the day will kick off at 7. It's the other semi-final. It is Wales taking on the hosts. They are the slight favourites after beating them in the pool stage, but it was a narrow encounter, and France will be backed up by a decent crowd here in Vichy. Final game of our 4th day of the European Touch Championships will be in 15 minutes' time.